Okay guys, today we are going to be working on Le French door bolt guards or slide bolt guards. And when I say slide bolts on French doors, which are double doors, and one of them stays locked and the other one has the hardware on it, and you unlock your door and it opens this way. On the inactive door, there are slide bolts in the edge of the door that you push up and you push down, which secures that door for your main door to lock into. And it typically has, this is a commercial version, but the same theory holds true. It's mounted flush, mortised into the edge of the door, and it's got a bolt that slides up and down. And that bolt slides up and down into a hole in the top and in the threshold of the door. Almost every time you see these installed, people leave off the strike plate that comes with this. Now this isn't this strike plate, this is a deadbolt strike plate. But almost always when you open those doors, either because it's not lining up or something, either the strike plate had never been done and they simply drilled a hole into the wood, which the wood in the header is pretty much thin wood, just like you have the wood on our frame. So it is easily broken open because there is no supporting object to do that. Now, I will say that these slide bolts always come with the strike plates. Most people don't do it if you have a metal threshold. Most people just drill the hole in the threshold in the bottom of the door for that slide bolt to go into. Now that is okay if it's a metal threshold because it's metal. A lot of times there's like a plastic material and a plastic type threshold, and I see holes drilled in those. The problem with those is mortising into that plastic. It's very difficult to mortise into plastic without using like a trim router or some deal like that. So a lot of times you will see the bottom bolt not just have a hole drilled in the threshold, whatever type it might be. But then you go up and you look at the top bolt and it's just wood, and that wood again is the same thin wood that you would see in the jamb and the frame of the door. So you need to do something to increase the protection of the inactive door because it is inherently weaker compared to a single door mounted into a frame because you don't have mobile, you don't have stationary 2x4s to use long screws and heavy strike plates for. So while you could be thinking, let's just take a smaller deadbolt strike or something and put it in there, you've got so much gap and it causes issues with the doors lining up. So we can't do that. The strike plates that come with these, unfortunately, are typically thin metal, thin brass, and come with little bitty short screws, which serves no purpose other than appearance. So what I do is I go and I get weld steel. This particular one is 1/8 inch by 1.25 inch. Now 1.25 inch, if you take your standard strike plate, is 1.25 inch practically. A little bit less, but this will work because it's going to be going in the header. So when you have double doors, now that bolt is on the edge of the door, so when we're cutting the strike plate out of the weldable steel, you're going to have to mortise it, and this is 1/8 inch thick, so it's thick steel, doesn't bend. It's very good steel to be using for this. And what we do is we're going to cut some sections that are approximately this long, and we're going to drill 4 holes in it, 2 for the front edge of the door where there is no backer. If you rip off that upper header, the front edge closer to the inside of the door is only gonna, there's no point using long screws for that, so we use those for stabilized screws. And then we drill 2 more holes in the back of this to use your longer screws to bite up into the 2x4 framing in the header of the door. And of course we drill our hole not quite that big. Typically those bolts range from a little bitty thin, like 1/4 inch size, up to a more decent size like that. And preferably your door has the decent ones. Unfortunately, a lot of these new doors on the market now are plastic, and use plastic latches, plastic slide bolts. And that is just so ridiculous. Come on now. Now I'm gonna do this on just with a hacksaw. I have a cutoff saw, but I have not been able to get the wheel replaced, and it's a cheapy Harbor Freight, so I'll probably just buy another one with a new wheel. My last cut here was not great, so I'm going to fix that. And then I'm going to start, and I'm going to use them about this long, because that's really all you need. Now, since it's on a double door, since the hole's got to be centered, this is going to project over to where the other door closes. This would be your center line on the door. This is one door, and this is another door. So you're going to have to mortise it down. And mortising locks, mortising strike plates is difficult in... Oh, that was a horrible... Okay, let's just do this. Mortising locks overhead is somewhat difficult because the shit falls down in your face. So wear safety goggles when you're mortising overhead or drilling holes, because if you look up, you have an issue there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay quiet for a bit and kind of do just a fast forward cutting. I'm going to just go ahead and cut off this. I need 2 today, I know. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, and cut the holes, drill the holes. So we're going to just like do a speed up deal here to cut this video a little short. No point watching the whole thing. And again, if I had a chop saw, all I got to do is put this in the chop saw and ching. But I guess I get to do a little workout today with the hacksaw. So stopping this here, I'm going to speed up, knock it down quiet, because there's no point hearing sped up cutting noise. Okay, before I go to cutting each individual piece, it's much easier to have a handhold and drill your holes first. So pretty much what we're going to do here is just kind of eyeball some holes on each one. Those are for your 2 front screws. These are 2 back screws. Let's kind of move that over. And again, you don't have to be perfect. Nobody looks up. You want the security, you don't want the aesthetics. So that's going to give us 4. Mine, yeah. So come through with a, it looks like about a 5/32. And drill away. Okay, so like I said, we're gonna freeze this and do it super fast. Crap, I forgot to hit record. So instead of doing this super fast, I just went in and did this line of holes on the front edge, and now I will remember to hit record. Okay, so short screw and long screw. Now I have a bigger head short screw. These actually come with wiser deadbolts. So we check our screw number 1 to make sure that it's going to go into the holes that we just drilled. This one's a little tight, but when we chamfer it, it will not be as tight. So I'm actually gonna see that 1/4 inch. A 1/4 inch may be a bit better. So let's go ahead and knock in 1/4 inches along this edge, and then we're going to use smaller screws up front. It got kind of hot, so I'm letting it cool down right now. I need to find, let's see if we can get some other, see what other size drill bits I have here that may work. Here we go. I'm going to be doing a drill bit video. Well, that's not, that masonry bit is not going to help. I'm going to be doing a drill bit video soon at the request of, oh my goodness, I can't think of his name, but he just requested it on my last arguably video. Y'all liking those arguably videos? I don't know how or why I started it, but I did. Is this 1/4 inch? It's a little bit bigger than 1/4 inch. So let's switch out this 1/4 inch because it's hot with a Pilot 1/4 inch. Pilot 1/4 inch bits are the bomb. They're $3.99. They're made to go in hole saws, and they last quite a while. Got hot. Okay, so we figure out where I put my screws that I was using. Well, here's another one. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is chamfer it. And again, we're going to use a bigger screw here. And I'm actually probably going to use a smaller diameter screw because that front leading screw really is just to hold the plate in. So I'm probably going to use a smaller diameter screw. It's very common in high security strike plates because this one, which I'm not using this one, but I'm going to use a smaller screw. So the bigger screw will have the little bit bigger hole here in the back, and these holes are going to have to get bigger, and I use a step drill for that. So let's go outside and grab my countersink and get it chucked up here. So let me go grab that, be right back. All right, went and grabbed my kit out of the truck, and I've got my step drills in there. Now I will notate that it is not the best thing in the world to use a drill press for countersinking, because I can't really answer that question because I just don't like doing it, but I'm gonna do it because I'm set up here ready to do all this. So we need to make sure you're in the hole here. Okay, so small, bigger. Okay, we're going to let that cool down. We're going to, let's see here. It's going to be using a number 8 size screw, so that'll tell us how we're doing here. So Obviously you want it as perfectly flush as possible. So I'm going to go through and identify. Now, final touch-up could be done on the door. Ooh, this bar's hot. Well, we can see we got them pretty dang flush. You don't want to countersink too much because you're going to remove a little too much metal to make it a good support. Ooh, hot. Hot. So I'm going to run a light layer through one more time because a couple of them were sticking up. So just hitting it. Okay, I'm gonna let that cool down for a minute and I'll be right back. Okay, gave it a chance to cool off. Let's go ahead and chamfer the other ones. Now with the bigger hole, because remember these are 1/4-inch holes, it's gonna chamfer wider automatically because the tip of the bit's going through the hole further. So again, we got to be careful and check to make sure that these are flush, which you can see that after that first pass they are kind of sort of mostly flush. So we're going to kind of sort of go back over one more time. Go back, check it again. Getting a little bit better. Some of them are going to be better than others, so I'm just remembering which ones are not so great. So far we got 1 and 4 need a little hitting. 1, 4, 5. Yep, 6. Definitely 7, and a little bit on 8. All right, I think that'll cover us. Any other tiny modifications can certainly be done in the field, but we see we have a good solid thing there. Still got a pretty good little surface area in there. Not the best, not the greatest, not the most wonderful, but it is way better than just wood. A bigger bit to do this. This bit is dull. I can see mortar on it, which means it's hit concrete. But we'll see if it'll suffice to finish our little task here. Oh yeah, much better. Oh, I think I broke that bit. Woo, that metal's hot. All right. So if we go get our commercial version of that bolt thing, which is going to be bigger than, you know, your regular household. Your regular household bolt's typically going to be pretty much this size, which is about a 5/16 diameter bolt. But if not, what you can do, oh, let me do one more thing. What we're going to do here is go chamfer off all the rough edges left behind. Oh, no. Didn't tighten you down, did I? I'm gonna just slightly get rid of these burrs. Okay, so smooth on both sides. Now let's go ahead and get it cut. Again, I can go ahead and get it up on the door, and if that hole needs to be bigger, I can do that in the field with one of these bits or a bigger bit while it's on the door stationary. Because sometimes you're off just a little bit. It makes it hard to line it up sometimes, so it's always good to be able to tweak it later. So let's go ahead and get out our chopper. And I did discover my chopper here that I said the blade was really toast on, but I looked at it here a second and it looks like I got just enough blade to do this type of chopping endeavor. So let me clear an area here. Okay, again, I think this thing will work to do this, even though it has very little blade. So alright, tighten it down. So the bad thing about using a chop saw is the wide kerf, and I'm not real thrilled with that, so I'm going to tough this out with a dull hacksaw blade because I don't know where another blade may be. So again, let's speed this up. Yep, that's what happens when you're not being careful. Alright, let me go treat that. Okay, stupid mistake that we don't have time to deal with. So I went and just kind of gooped it. I can't find my band-aids right now, but I'm getting in a hurry because I'm running behind. So here we go again. Let's try that again without injuries. I'm so tired. Did I tell you? Remember my thumb that I drilled through? Well, the nail's back. And then remember shortly after that, I sliced it open so you can see a scar. And yesterday I nicked it with a drill bit on that side. I have kind of a numbness still in my thumb, and I guess I hit a nerve and destroyed it. But My poor thumb. Now it's this finger. Woohoo! Okay, second to last but not least, you want to hit the edges because some of them are going to be just off a little bit. So you want to get rid of these burrs. Try to get them as parallel as possible. That's going to hurt. Alright, so we have 4 pretty much equally sized plates, and they're hot. That's probably not good, so I'm going to go wash my finger back off. And then I'm going to hit these with spray paint. And one way to do that pretty easily is go dig in your box of zip ties. Zip ties? What you doing with zip ties, Jason? I'll show you. So we want to loop the zip tie through each one, and when we go outside to spray paint them, we simply hold them like that, spray paint them, and since I don't have time to actually just let them dry, I'm going to hang them up in my truck, hopefully not touching each other. And I'm going to spray paint the fronts, which you can tell the fronts obviously because they're chamfered. So that's it. Hold it up, spray paint it white. I'm going to do two black, 2 white, or 2 like a dark bronze, and then 2 white. That way I'll have 4 new flush bolts, and I'll try to get a little bit of a install from the scene. So there we go. Maybe we'll be at a house soon. If not, that's how you make custom strike plates for upper and lower threshold bolts. Like I said, I was trying to get some pictures from the scene, so see y'all after a bit.